Welcome to This Week in Hell. I'm Professor and Historian Bond Ruggles with all of the things you're just dying to know. It's been a little while since I've done a book review, but this spooky season would not be complete without me giving you at least a couple that you can read while you're sipping hot apple cider by the fireplace after you just got back from a Halloween party where you bobbed for apples and did other Halloween fun games. And so this week, what I've decided to do is to present a fiction and a non-fiction book, both connected to all things spooky, and that I thought were very relevant to what you'll not only learn with us, but what might interest you out there in the real world. If you like taking tours with Hot as Hell, then you're probably going to like both of these books. The first one is from a professor who teaches at the College of Charleston. His name is Dr. Scott Poole, and he does have several spooky type books out. I had to pick one, so I picked the one that was the most obvious and probably the most well-known and used in tons of people's research, including my own, and that is his book called Monsters in America, Our Historical Obsession with the Hideous and the Haunting. Okay, so that's what he's really looking at in this book, and he begins by connecting our love of it to how we, the public, learned about things that were going on in the Great World War, the Great War, which is known as World War One. And he takes off from there. Monsters in America really helped me understand, right, why this society, our particular culture, can't put down the true crime shows, can't put down the horror, shows. We actually make horror movies about horror movies. And that's how much we love this stuff. So if you're into it like we are, if you're into it like Dr. Scott Poole is, if you're into other forms of the hideous, whether it's cryptids or other types of monsters from ghosts to vampires, check out Dr. Scott Poole's Monsters in America and learn why you love the hideous and haunting in the United States. My second book is very appropriate. It's one of my favorite fiction authors that I accidentally discovered. So as a historian, you might not be difficult to guess. I don't really get a lot of time to read fiction. A lot of it happens when I'm traveling and I'm on a plane. I find it easier to focus on fiction on a plane than I do nonfiction, where I want to be taking notes and highlighting. I can just relax and enjoy a good read with a fiction. And it is through this process that I discovered this author. And a lot of my fiction reading happened the first semester I taught, because I taught in person, and I commuted. I commuted from New Orleans to Charleston, South Carolina by plane weekly in order to teach my classes. On an adjunct faculty salary, which means I think my net pay overall was like a negative $100 because of how I had to commute. But it introduced me to an author whose name is Grady Hendrix. He has a lot of really good kind of spooky and mystery books, but most appropriate for spooky season is My Best Friend's Exorcism. And it's exactly like it sounds. It's also a throwback. One of my favorite things about the way Hendrix writes is he is always really accurate about the era or the setting that he's in. One of his books has a Charleston setting, and it was almost creepy, the accuracy of which the setting was and the personality types and whatnot. This one is based in the 80s, and it's pretty neat how accurate it is with styles and music. I believe this was made into a show, or there was talk of it being made into it, so maybe you've seen it. Obviously, the book has a lot more to say, as they usually do, but if you're a fiction over nonfiction person, then be sure to check out My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. Thanks so much for tuning in this week to This Week in Hell. We'll hope to see you next week. Have a great week.